Joe Zinkus. I'm from Winnetka now. I've been introduced to the bookstall at Chestnut Court by Linda Martin from Coldwell Banker, which is sponsoring a series of videos on Winnetka. And I've just met Roberta Rubin, who's the proprietor, or proprietress, I guess.
Proprietress, absolutely.
Bookseller extraordinaire.
Bookseller
extraordinaire.
I'm a bookseller. That actually, what is your profession? I'm a bookseller. And welcome to the bookstall at Chestnut Court. We are here on Elm Street in Winnetka. A community resource, a very comfortable bookstore, I think, independent bookstore for people to use and to shop in.
Explain how you got the Chestnut Court,
the
because
Chestnut
that doesn't
Court,
make sense on Elm.
It's been 21 years since we moved into this space on Elm Street. But I bought the bookstall, thank you. I bought the bookstall in 1982. I was a partner with Eleanor Johnston, and we were down on the south end of Winnetka on Green Bay Road, 50 Green Bay Road. And in 1987, we moved into this store. So I had been in the south end for 5 years, and we've been here for 21 years. We've expanded twice, and we brought in the coffee shop. We found a corner space that was available, and Porter's Electric moved out in the middle of the night one night, and it all fell together. And we were so happy to bring Caribou into Winnetka, and I think it has been an asset. I think we've been happy with the results of having a coffee shop adjoining us. We are now an entertainment center rather than just a bookstore.
Well, sometimes when you do different events or you have authors, I remember when Al Roker came one Saturday morning, people just kind of wander in from having coffee, and who would think you'd see Al Roker sitting in Winnetka drinking Caribou coffee, talking to Roberta? So
we have a signature piece of furniture in our store, which is the stall, which is where I think the bookstall derived its name. It's in that next room. Come on and let me show it to you. It's on the way to the coffee shop.
Now you also had Caroline Kennedy here, and
this is the bookstall.
That's a separate store.
And this is the little stall, and it now houses cookbooks. And in fact, we call this room our food and travel room, because this is primarily what we have on our shelves in this room. I originally thought this room would just be a reading room and that we could have authors here, but a coffee shop is very noisy.
Yes, we have.
And so we had to move ourselves out of this room as far as just using it for a quiet place to read and to have authors.
But I think people love to sit there. Even the pillows have books on them.
Right.
And study the cookbooks. I spend a lot of time, because you recommend a lot of fantastic cookbooks, and I actually use
cookbooks. As we are still, and it sounds like a very kind of lightweight name, but we're still considered a carriage trade bookstore.
What does that mean?
And carriage trade means that we cater to those who were part of the carriage trade in the 1920s and 30s and perhaps even just before the war, which is a group of people who love leisure, who love lifestyle, who love to travel, who will read hardcover fiction instead of waiting for it to come out in paper. And so those are our strengths, is our lifestyle section, cookbooks, travel, interior design, also children's books.
I want to ask Roberta about her cookbooks, because that segues into you being on the Today Show, because we were so proud of you being on the Today Show, and I think the story she has to tell, you might have to leave out a few of the fun details, but what she spoke about and how she was honored to be one of the speakers was really special.
Well,
let's talk about the Today Show.
I felt very privileged to be there. However, when I got there, I was on for less than a minute. And there were 4 booksellers that were chosen, one from the West Coast, the Midwest, the East Coast, and one from Harlem. And we were each given a category. I did cookbook. That's why you're saying about cookbooks. I spoke about cookbooks. And Elliot Bay up in Seattle spoke about coffee table books. The woman from Harlem, who was just a beautiful young black woman, spoke about 4 black authors. She had the general interest, and then a friend of mine from the Northeast spoke about children's books. The Today Show, in my opinion, wasn't interested in books for the holidays. I think somebody thought it might be a good idea, but they didn't devote enough attention and enough kind of importance to it. So we were pleased to be on. I would have loved to be not me. I would have loved books to be more appreciated.
I think.
Did you feel that too?
Well, I did, but I was so excited to see you on it. I even TiVoed it. But the thing about Roberta, and I think why this store is so special, and it's ahead of any of those, I won't even mention their names because I don't go there, but Roberta cares about the community. She cares about her people who buy from her. She cares about her friends. She always does this fabulous event for me, a book event. And if it's okay with you, that's what she really would have rather talked about.
Sure.
She probably would have liked to talk about the book list that she publishes in her newsletter. So before the holidays...
I think, Roberta, people are curious that we're living in an era where the stores whose names Linda doesn't want to mention
Well, let's go to her
Barnes and Noble and Borders.
have put most of the independent bookstores in the United States out of business.
Go to your corner.
How do you survive?
We're going to show you her strengths in her books.
Well, let me answer his question first. Is it too noisy?
It will be on the video.
Well, okay, let me just quickly answer and then we'll move into another room. But the reason why we have survived is, number one, we're part of a community that does value reading. I don't feel like our main competition is Borders and Barnes and Noble anymore. I think that was part of the 90s psyche. And true, they did give us a run for our money in the 90s. They put some businesses out of business. But now we're competing against the computer, we're competing against the internet, we're competing against Amazon, and we're competing against time. You know, when I'm on an airplane, I don't see people reading as much as pulling out their laptops. And there's so much time spent on cell phones that...
Well, now you get the Kindle, books on download from the library.
We'll see how that, I'm not too worried about that. But there will be a little cut, a little slice taken from the pie, I'm sure, on that. But it's just everything that's happening in our world that's sped up.
But the thing about Roberta and Roberta's store, you have surgery, you have a baby, you have a wedding. You call up, you know who her people who work with her. You call Roberta, say, Roberta, I'm giving a shower. I'm in for my business for real estate. I mean, I'm here today to buy a number of different books for some of my open houses for raffles. So they've given me ideas about books about organizing, books about architecture. I'm actually buying a book that Hemingway is mentioned in because one of my listings, the townhouse, is named Hemingway, and the Winnetka Library helped name it. So we all kind of work together here, and I think that's the beauty. And I'd love it if you can show Jo your list. Kind of last night we had a book event, and she went over.
Well, the list is just a list, and I do feel that for the moment the list is important. But there's so many books here in the store that if you have the specific question to ask, or if you're interested in a business book, that our staff, which I feel is so well read, is really the way to go.
Or they'll order them. If they don't know about them, they'll go on the computer, or you can, bring it in from the internet yourself. And they've ordered many business books for us. So.
People ask me every day, how do we survive? How do we survive? I did answer that in part last night too, is that I go to New York, I'm going Tuesday. I go to New York once a month, sometimes twice a month this month, and I talk to the publishers and I say, I need authors, I need events, I need something to bring people into the store. And we do a lot of downtown events. We work with the downtown clubs. So we are an event-driven store.